interwebs.
Yeah, I love it.
Let's give them something to talk about. I see the energy running out. I got a planet to run around. Okay. You ain't do nothing but run your mouth. No, I don't wanna...
Oh, good morning.
Good morning. It's good afternoon here.
Everybody. Yeah, okay, like two more days of Happy New Year. I've told my members, you got 2 more days of Happy New Year's, and then no more Happy New Year's. 2 more days. Yeah, so it there we are, Bill Leeper. Thank you. So we this is cool. I'm excited by this podcast because every once in a while I get, like every 10 podcasts we get somebody that's kind of big time from CrossFit to join us. And
big time might not be the right word, but I'll take it.
Thank you. So this time we got Keith Knapp, who's director of marketing at CrossFit and has certainly been through, and since coming on board has probably been through, it's like dog years for you. He's been with CrossFit for a little over a year, I think, right?
Yep, that's exactly right.
Yeah,
so 7 years.
Yeah, so 7 years.
7. I mean, it definitely feels like that. It's interesting because it's like that. And I feel like a lot of roles are like this, where you like, I feel like I have been here forever, and I also feel like I just got here.
Yeah.
Like
how long have you been CrossFitting?
I started CrossFit in 2008 in my garage in college.
Wow.
So a long time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been around a long time.
Yeah. And I was a collegiate cross-country and track athlete and a pole vaulter. And my senior year in track, I was going to do the decathlon. Mm-hmm. And when I was competing in college, I was 145 pounds. I'm 6 foot tall, and 145 pounds is, like nothing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I got to get, if I'm going to do the decathlon, I got to get a lot stronger and a lot more powerful. So a friend of mine said, hey, let's give CrossFit a shot. We did Fran in my garage, and then I never did the decathlon. I was like, I'm just going to do this. It's just so much.
That sounds very familiar to my situation. I started racing mountain bikes, and then Fran was the first workout. I was like, well, I can use this to train for my racing, and that just changed my life.
Yep.
You know who was another CrossFit Games athlete that was a collegiate track athlete and pole vaulter?
There's been a few.
Yeah. The one that everybody knows here, Sacramento State. Yeah. Daniel Brandon.
Yep. Amy Thor's daughter, I think, was another that was a pole vaulter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Vaulter. Yep.
Pole vaulting is like such a fascinating and cool thing.
Super quick twitch, explosive.
Yeah.
I mean, you train intense levels to get that explosiveness. And so it's not uncommon.
Yeah. And you have to have, like, the other thing about pole vault is you just have to have really good body awareness.
Yeah.
And be really comfortable going upside down. You have to be really comfortable, like, moving your body in a plane of motion. And like you said, generating a lot of power really quickly. So, I think a lot of pole vaulters, in the same way that a lot of gymnasts kind of can make a quick transition into CrossFit. I picked it up pretty easily. First time somebody told me you were allowed to kip a pole up, I was like, oh, I can do these unbroken forever now. And like butterfly pull-ups were another thing. Just like the first time I did it, it was like, oh, it just made sense.
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
And it gets efficient. It's when I have members that are good at, say, kipping pull-ups, and I know they can get butterfly pull-ups. Or yesterday we had Diane as a workout, and I saw the Jorge, who's an amazing athlete, great engine, and he was struggling with his kipping handstand push-ups. And I showed at the end of it, I go, dude, I got to after class, I'm like, I got to give you like a 15-minute session, because as soon as you get these, you're going to be like, oh,
light bulb.
Yeah.
Once it clicks.
Yeah. And you guys, you track athletes and a gymnast, I think, are the same. Like, you guys have, you get to that moment of awareness, and you can relate to what that moment of awareness is much quicker than other athletes.
Yeah, for sure.
The big struggle as an affiliate, as a coach, a CrossFit coach, is someone that doesn't have body awareness. And you'll see that with a lot of newer members that are coming in, and you show them something, visibly show them something, and you go, and really basic.
Repeat that back.
You repeat that back, and when they don't and they can't, you look at them and I'm like, I don't know how to solve this.
This is where patience comes in handy.
Yes.
My wife and I coach track and cross country now.
Okay.
We have like 80 kids during the track season in the summer
Really?
or in the spring. And then we have like 25 kids that run cross country with us in the fall. And just this year, I actually opened my garage as an affiliate, and I do kids classes in the mostly just kids classes. And it's unbelievable the lack of body awareness that some people have.
Yeah.
And it's like, in these kids, I mean, you tell them to do a squat and they have no idea what you're talking about. Like the school that our kids go to, when they do squats in gym class, they're told not to go below parallel still. And I'm like, I don't understand what world we're still living in.
Yeah.
Or like burpees for them or up downs, because they don't want them to go all the way to the ground. And they, it's just like all these little things I have to like train out of all these kids.
Yeah.
But then when it clicks, it's like pretty amazing.
The irony is if you watch babies, especially
they know how to do it just automatically.
Yes. Yeah. They do that.
I bring my 2-year-old out and I'm like, hey, Jameson, squat. And they're like, oh yeah, I can do that.
and then it gets programmed out of them through not
old
not
training
intentionally.
methods.
Well, old
that's
training
just
methods,
old
but
training
it's
methods.
also like a lot of sitting, not
True,
moving,
true.
not doing functional stuff.
Just the sedentary aspects of being a student and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I guess for me, being 60, I look on it now and I think it's definitely the kids have less proprioception, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Than previous generations, which represents, I think, for CrossFit a significant opportunity.
Huge opportunity.
Right. To
unbelievable opportunity.
To bring that back when we understand now the importance of that type of movement for an aging population.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or developing population.
Yeah. You have 4 kids, Keith. I saw that, and then you told me, and how you're even able to have time for this podcast is remarkable to me. How old are your kids?
We do have 4 kids. Noelle is 12, Graceland is 8, Cecilia is 5, and Jameson is 2.
Wow.
So 3 girls and a little boy, and life is very full. Having time for
your
something
wife's
like
a
this.
champ. And are you homeschooling or do they go public school?
They go to a private school. They go to Catholic school.
Oh, right on. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And are they in school today, or are they still on vacation this week?
They're not. Today is their last day of vacation.
Okay.
So
really,
we are in the process of like getting all the Christmas decorations taken down. Like I literally
the next
my
day.
Christmas tree down, and
so
it's like last day, and and they're kind of excited about that they're like, like a clean new start, and they're ready to go back, and for the most part they're ready to go back.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how you went from, so you've been with CrossFit about a year and a half. How did someone recruit you, or did you know someone at CrossFit that was looking for a director of marketing? Because you were at kind of a cool company before that, at Vast Bicycles.
Yeah, I've been quite a few different places. I initially got connected to CrossFit. I mean, there's been a couple different kind of paths that I've kind of made my way into this for all like legitimately a dream job. Like I don't feel like I work a day in my life, because like my wife last night's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm watching a podcast episode, and I'm talking to my friends about like what workout we're going to do tomorrow. And she's like, don't you ever stop?
That makes me feel honestly, let me interrupt real quick. That makes me feel good, because that's how Jamie is. That's how I am. And we've like, it's a passion. Cool. It's good to know that you're in that same.
And so like I made my first introduction to kind of the team at CrossFit probably in 2017 or 2018. It was back prior to when all the media kind of departures happened.
Right.
I was working at that time at Procter & Gamble, and I worked for almost a decade at Procter & Gamble, and spent 7 years of my time there in our ventures group. So we were kind of trying to identify what are new consumer needs, what are new tensions that we can create solutions for. And I was leading a project in the personal healthcare space, and we were trying to figure out, trying to find a solution for the reality that everyone wants to feel better, but they don't know what to do about it. Mm-hmm. And even if they start something, the best proxy that we have, like the easy, especially at that time, I mean, there's Whoop and Apple Watches now, but in 2017, it was like, you can get on a scale. But that's a really shitty proxy for whether you're moving in the right direction. And so we were doing all this stuff, and I was leading a team, had a bunch of researchers that were working on, like, could we create some kind of diagnostic test, or is there a blood test, or is there some other way that we can help people know that they're moving in the right direction?
Right.
But every rabbit hole I went down, I landed back on CrossFit.com. And I was like, there's something to this thing. Like, if you want to feel better, if you want to be a healthier version, if you want to be a better version of yourself, like, just go do CrossFit. Like, that's the really simple thing. Yeah. And I almost got to the point in that role where I was almost manic about it. I was like, I don't understand how you guys don't see this. Like, CrossFit is the only solution to all these problems that people have.
Oh man.
And I have, and like, I've talked about this with our team, and I've talked about this, I think, in a couple other contexts, but I have a deep, deep personal passion for this, because my entire family, direct family, falls like squarely in the cohort of people that like need CrossFit so badly.
Same.
Both of my parents are type 2 diabetics. I have 3 morbidly obese siblings. I have who all have like early, precursors for heart disease and type 2 diabetes, and like really terrible issues with depression. And I'm like, part of why I was so excited about that project I was doing at Procter & Gamble is I was like, I can find something that can help them.
Yeah.
And what I found was CrossFit. So that's how I initially got connected to CrossFit back then. And I was talking to kind of the whole crew around, got connected to Karin Thompson, who's getting ready to do the CrossFit for Health Summit for us coming up in a couple of weeks, actually.
Yeah, that's cool.
But like
in Austin, Texas, by the way, and you can still sign up. And what's cool is if you go, you get continuing education credit.
Yeah, the CEUs carry over.
Correct.
Yep. And Nicole Carroll will be there speaking as well. But there's Rhonda Patrick is going, and I rarely, get to see her. And it's so cool to see her associated with CrossFit, or at least in the same neighborhood. They all are.
Right. Yeah. So that was how I originally got connected. And then, fast forward a few years, I ended up leaving P&G, went to work for an innovation company. I started at that company like a week before COVID hit. And then I had joined that company as like a regional leader, regional vice president. And then when COVID happened, our offices kind of consolidated. There was no more regional positions. It was like, what's the point of a region if we're all remote? That role got eliminated, went to work for Vast Bikes. And that role kind of landed on my lap, and it was really exciting. Did that for a couple of years, and I was in the direct to consumer kind of marketing space. So a lot of the work that I did at P&G was in direct to consumer marketing as well. Like, package up a product, sell it online, figure out how to learn from the people that are purchasing, make steps into the right direction, to grow the business. And while I was there, there was talk of CrossFit potentially doing merchandising, kind of running some merchandising projects. Got brought in as a potential consultant, met the CMO at that time, who was Erin Clift, and started talking to her about like, hey, like, if whatever happens here, I'd love to find a way to get into this. This is like, would be a dream come true to work at CrossFit. And she said, I think we could absolutely find a role for you. Like, you're the perfect person to come in and do what we need to do. And yeah, that kind of happened a year and a half ago. I started a week before the games, actually the same week that Don started, in 2021. 2022.
When I look at your experience, your resume, and over my career, I've hired a lot of people. You are uniquely qualified for the role that you're in, and like you check all the boxes. And the boxes I like. You also started your own company, and you have your own affiliate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you've been a passionate CrossFitter since the early days. And understand the methodology as good as anybody else. And then you've got the direct to consumer business through Vast that I think is the kind of the next stage for CrossFit and CrossFit affiliates especially.
Yeah.
So my only concern now is that you don't get burned out and want to fucking leave us.
Yeah, I can't imagine that happens anytime soon.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I mean, it's been I will say though, like the point you made about like dog years, this role has been a grind. This community is so passionate about everything that happens that it's just like every single day there's another thing that happens, right? It's just like, oh, what happened here? What happened here? And it's just like,
right. We've never, though. I'll tell you this though, in the past, and this is the amazing irony of everything that's kind of happening, because there are quite a few people that are looking at the management team through a microscope.
For sure.
And we haven't had that in as much in the past. Prior to 2018, it didn't happen at all. I mean, you weren't even allowed to question the management. But it was, again, those are the heyday years. That's when people, there was more enthusiasm, there's more energy. Yeah. And there was more excitement about CrossFit during that time. That was the fast, rapid growth years. I do want to talk to you about that. Yeah. But now it seems like there's this incredible scrutiny of every single thing that CrossFit does, every single communication picked apart, every single podcast. Even when I was thinking about doing this podcast, I'm like, I don't want people coming in and just pulling little snippets out of it. Well, here's what was said.
Yeah,
and that's a whole new era, and it puts an unbelievable amount of pressure on the executive team, who just literally want this to succeed for affiliates, for the people that are doing it, and for themselves. Like our goals are aligned. Yeah. But now you guys are so had never been forward facing. But prior to Aaron Graff, I didn't even know who the hell was doing marketing at CrossFit. I do Greg, Dave, Savon, Tony Budding, Nicole. And that's about it. Yeah, and there's probably 100 other people there.
Yeah, for sure.
And even those people you never heard from.
Yeah, it is wild to just like, I think that the scrutiny comes from a deep passion. Like it comes from a place of deep passion. Yes. And like it almost becomes this, like, there's like a zealotry to it, right? There's like, I want to make sure that nothing happens to this thing that I believe so deeply in. And I think there's certainly space for that, right? There has to be space for that. I think there was we actually released a video right after semifinals where Don said we have to have like the space. The term he used, and I don't know if I would use the same, was violent disagreement. Like we have to have space to violently disagree on things, but then recognize that we have to move past that quickly. Because if we continue to be in this space where we're just like, well, you did this and you did this, or they're not doing this thing the way that I would do it. Well, like those are all like tiny nitpicky things that aren't that especially the people that have never heard about CrossFit before could give two shits about.
Yes.
Right. Like, and we have, this is one of the things that you and I were talking about, I think via, Instagram Messenger recently, about like the chasm of adoption, like the adoption curve.
Yes.
We've been doing a lot of work trying to figure out who the right target market is for us. And there's a lot of folks that would say like we are past the chasm of adoption. And the chasm of adoption, for folks who don't know, is like you have your innovators who are like 2% of the population, you have your early adopters who are like 15% of the population roughly, and then you have the early majority, which is where you want to get to as a big brand. Like as a big brand, you have to get into the early majority, which makes up like another 34% of the population. And if you look at the pure percentages, there are 8 billion people on the planet. There are roughly 2 million people who are doing CrossFit based on our best estimates inside of affiliates anyway. That's 0.02% of the population. We are 2 orders of magnitude away from just getting through the innovators, if you look at it on just pure percentages. And if you wanted to play around with that and think about well, wait a minute, what about with the actual target audience, which is like people who are willing to go do CrossFit, cut that number into a third and say there's 30% of people who actually fit that model. Like you're still only 0.06% of that population is willing or is currently captured. So we have what makes me so excited about the work that we're doing is there is such a massive audience of people that are actually still innovators and still early adopters. And like there should be no reason why we're not growing at 10x. Like the goal that we set, that Don said is for CrossFit is by 2030, we've got 30 million people doing CrossFit. That should be a given.
Mm-hmm.
If we can get out of our own way, and if every piece of content that's created, when somebody who doesn't know what CrossFit is and they Google CrossFit today, they'll find CrossFit.com because we've been doing a lot of work to push CrossFit.com.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Definitely.
It's been great.
Which is good, right? We're trying to make sure that they find the thing first, which wasn't the case 2 years ago. But then if you go search for CrossFit podcast, or if you search for CrossFit content on YouTube, for example, you find a lot of really negative stuff.
Yeah.
Because those are the creators that are creating. And so if I'm somebody who's like, oh, CrossFit, that sounds interesting, I know somebody who does that, and they go search for it, and the first thing they find is a video of somebody yelling about how CrossFit executives are idiots. Right. I'm like,
shut off.
Maybe I don't want to go try CrossFit.
Yeah. So I put up the bell curve essentially that shows the adoption, and Keith and I had gotten a little bit of a debate about this because I'm claiming that CrossFit's, in the early majority heading into late majority. And then he made a really good argument to me, and I'm, I like being an optimist that we're still in the early adopters, and you can see the chasm there, that we're probably in that chasm right now.
Yeah.
With a significant opportunity to break out to the next level. There's two things I wanted to talk about. One, in response to that, the detractors are really, really good at focusing on the views and positioning of their content.
Yes.
They watched all the Mr. Beast videos on how to do it right.
Yeah.
And they're really good at it, and they understand the value of that because it generates revenue specifically for that content. And that is their primary source of revenue. And the other thing is that what's interesting about that is that, and this is with Instagram as well, is that the algorithms will start to drive that content to the people that favor that content.
Mm-hmm.
And so they, so then it continues to reinforce it. So they continues
to flood the gates of all the
basically they build viewer momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are some people that are really good and really understand that model.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I imagine that's a challenge in deciding like how much of that model do you want to try and fight or overwhelm or shift? It's really kind of a fascinating conundrum, and it's something I particularly don't understand. If I did, we'd probably have more clickbait titles on our podcast covers.
Got a few.
Yeah, I see. We could put on this one. We'll put like Keith Knapp leaving CrossFit question mark. But it is that stuff that kind of that generates views and then subscribers and then go from there.
When you talk about like how people, when somebody is interested in here's CrossFit and then they search it and they come across that,
this is brilliant. Okay,
who would do something like that?
I'm honored that this guy that Andrew, my friend, is listening to my podcast live. Like how this man has time to do that is beyond me. That's so awesome.
Love it. What's up, Hiller?
Yeah. So back to the whole concept of like, if you're looking for CrossFit and you search it and you come across, some of this, I guess you could say, hate around CrossFit or, breaking that down. Back when I came across it, I came across the CrossFit Journal, and that really kind of propelled me deep into, the essence of CrossFit. And then as a trainer, it kind of really opened up my eyes on how I could utilize it for, new people. And today, like, that's not really much of an option as far as like getting people to go to the journal. Is that, I don't know, tour.
No, it's an amazing question. And like the answer that I typically give is like the conversation around the journal never stops, right? Like everybody is, especially folks who've been around for a while, like everybody's gone through that same journey. Like if you've been doing CrossFit for 5+ years, you have found your way to the journal, and you've probably like consumed it voraciously, right? Like you've spent heavily. Well, I guess the next 2 weeks, all I'm doing is reading journal articles. And like you've gone through that process. We need to, I firmly believe, and I've made this, recommendation in the past. We need to just make the journal easier to find, right? Mm-hmm. Right now, if you want to find archived journal articles, you have to download PDFs. Yeah. It's like we have a massive opportunity just in getting the journal content into a CRM, a front end solution that enables Google crawlers to find it, because there's tens of thousands of articles that Google can't see that are specifically about CrossFit, specifically about the methodology, specifically about movement, coaching, like all of that stuff, right? Yeah. They live in PDF, like downloadable PDFs that are, you can find them, the archives on the media page. There's actually 2 different archives, one from like 2002 all the way to 2016, then one from 2016 to 2018. Yeah. And then somebody recently asked, I was having a chat in another podcast, and they said, well, where is the journal? And I'm like, well, because I had made a comment that we still have a ton of people that are actively creating a lot of really great content. We still put out a lot of content. It just doesn't come out in the quote unquote journal. If you go to crossfit.com/media, it's in the top of the top banner. We still have new articles coming out on a weekly, if not daily basis, that get published there. They're just not under the journal banner.
Yeah. So if you go to like main site and scroll down, there's all the articles and content.
And I would say the one thing that we are having some conversations about, like actually right now, is trying to figure out how to make that more searchable. Because right now the search functionality is really it's not great. We've spent our tech team has done an incredible job of prioritizing the map. Like the map functions in a way today that it did not just a very short period of time ago. Automatically understands where you're at, automatically puts positions, gyms that are right next to you for drop-ins. We have the lead forms now. It's crazy because I have an affiliate. I actually get lead forms, which is like kind of cool to get.
I just posted one on my Instagram.
That's awesome.
I've gotten a couple now, and I never got anything like that in the past ever.
That wasn't even a thing.
No, it's kind of
so
cool.
Like our tech team's been prioritizing that kind of stuff, and I think that's right. That's like the immediate service to the affiliate. That's the thing you do. But and I think continuing to create a really great front end experience for people that are new to CrossFit is spot on.
Can I
go for it
a little bit? Is there a difference? So we talk about the journal, and I feel like the journal is really important to the early adopters, right? And the early adopters were those that were already doing some type of fitness. I'm in my estimation, and this is just observational data. They were already doing some type of fitness, had experienced fitness, and then found CrossFit and said, okay, this is a better form of fitness, but less time, more GPP. And then let me really dive into this. And the journal is a great place to do that. It validates all the stuff, the decisions I'm making. Yeah. Do you think about in terms of, okay, let's move the journal and make it more available to people, but yet is that really relevant to the people that are joining CrossFit now, who are less experienced, don't have as much past exercise experience, aren't as extreme athletes as the previous generation? Is that important? And then how do you approach that newer customer? And do you guys see or do you guys even see a distinction between the past customer versus current customers that are coming into gyms?
Yeah. I mean, I think so. There's a couple things to unpack there. I think the first thing is like, is there a different audience? Right? Like, are we talking to a completely different person than we would have talked to originally? I am still not 100% bought into that idea. I think there are so many people that are working out 3 to 4 times a week just not in a CrossFit gym. Some of them are probably already doing like your boot camp or your high intensity interval training or whatever garbage you want to call it. They're doing CrossFit already. They just haven't done it in a gym. So I think there's a huge opportunity to keep capturing those people. I mean, if I do, again, talking back to the total addressable market stuff we've been doing, there's like 3 million people 300 million people currently who are probably working out at least 3 times a week, who are between the ages of 20 and 39. Yeah. Right. That's actually squarely in the cohort of people that are basically exactly like you were when you found CrossFit.
Think about that number, like 300 million people that are I mean,
awesome. Like those are people that are like,
and that's where we become kind of like, we think, but I've gotten all the customers I could possibly get. You know?
Right. What? I mean, I did a workout yesterday in my gym with a really good friend of mine. He's a police officer. He's a canine officer in Fairfield, Ohio. And he has been working out in his own gym for 10 years. He's a former Army Ranger, and had never done CrossFit before. He came over yesterday. Wow. We did the main site workout, a slightly modified version of the main site workout to make it friendly for a partner. And it was amazing because he already has the physical capacity. He already understands how to move. We got done with the workout. It took 16 minutes and 42 seconds. And he goes, "Holy shit, I can't wait to do this again."
Yeah.
Like there are those guys, hundreds of millions of people that are exactly like that still.
I'm in complete denial about that because I find it so hard to believe. But then about a month ago, I had that guy come in that was a local firefighter that walks in, guy that's fit as hell. And he comes in and he goes, "This is my first time ever in a CrossFit gym."
Yeah.
And I told my God, I find that hard to believe. Like because we think it's everywhere, right? Because my whole world is like CrossFit. Everything's being fed to me CrossFit. So I'm thinking everybody knows about CrossFit.
The algorithm knows you and surrounds you with the things that you're right.
That's a really good point.
So you only see, and like the people that are in our
circles,
my God,
like so true.
We spend time around people who are doing CrossFit. Like,
yes,
I have a little bit of a unique perspective because, I mean, I started CrossFit in 2008. I didn't walk into a gym until 2018. I spent 10 years doing CrossFit every single day for 10 years before I went to a gym. And the only reason I eventually went into a gym, I was like, you know what? I have to go do the open. Like I've been doing this for so freaking long. I've been doing the workouts, but I haven't actually signed up. I feel like I need to go do it. And I'll tell you what's so crazy about that is there was this weird mental hurdle I had to get over where I didn't feel comfortable. And this was actually one of the things that I talked to the media team about when I first started getting deeper into the weeds. It's like, how many people are doing CrossFit are like every single day or a version of CrossFit every single day, but are not comfortable calling themselves CrossFitters?
Yeah.
Like I bet that number is so high because I was literally in that boat. I was like, I don't know if I'm actually allowed to call myself a CrossFitter because I don't go to a CrossFit gym. You know, it's like, am I actually the thing that I
good point.
So yeah, it's like, I think there is a massive untapped pool of people that are like squarely in our wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. That being said, you asked the question about like, how do you think about the journal for people who maybe aren't in that wheelhouse, or how do you think about presenting content to those people who might not be in that wheelhouse? And I think what we have to do a better job of, and we're getting way better with our ability to capture data, is understand who are those like different cohorts of users. Mm-hmm. And in the same way that technology companies have done this forever, like Facebook knew that if you had 7 friends and uploaded one post and uploaded a single picture, like you weren't going anywhere. Like they had you locked. Yeah. Like we need to do a better job of understanding, like you need to walk into a gym, have one conversation with an existing member, have a great experience with a coach, and get a follow-up phone call. Like maybe those are the 4 things. I don't know if those are the 4 things, but like we need to do a better job of understanding what that actually is so that we can go back to affiliate owners and say, hey, affiliate owners, if you can get somebody to walk in your gym, you get one of your members to say hello and send a text. You get a coach to make sure that you give them a great cue and they leave feeling they got something that they've never gotten somewhere else. And then a week later, you make sure you give them a text or a phone call. Like if you do those 4 things, you have a 90% success rate on that person hanging around for the next 90 days. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know what those barriers are, but like we can actually probably learn from you guys. I mean, Craig, like you being on the affiliate council, like there's things that you can bring to the table to help us build those models so that we can take that out to current and potential affiliate owners and say, hey, here's how you unlock, like, this is how you actually unlock growth.
And unlock growth and improve retention.
100%.
And Diablo has had the luxury of being around a long time. And we keep it clean. We constantly add new equipment, those things help keep our members longer, and then they refer and bring and bring on board new members. But there are those things, Keith, that probably I would have gotten to where we are today faster had I known some of those things and had I practiced some of those things that you're talking about. We just recently, this is embarrassing to tell people this, because I was having a conversation with someone who was talking about I don't know if Chris Cooper or Fern and those guys at Best Hour of the Day talked about the first 90 days.
Yeah.
First 90 days are the most important. And it didn't used to be, I think with the very early adopters, it wasn't as important. Like you get them in, you give them a hard workout, they meet a couple friends, boom, they're coming back, right? That was me, it was you, it was, Jamie.
Yeah.
But the current people that come in with less exercise experience, they're scared to death. And they come in and they go in a corner. I see them in class. They go in the corner and they don't talk to anybody. And we try and get our coaches to get them to interact and build relationships. But they come in and then, I look, my wife has cancellation sheets. So for every person that cancels a membership or stops a membership, we have a cancellation sheet. And I was looking and there's like 15, 20 of them there for the month. And I was like, again, it's naivete. I looked and I'm like, well, why this person? I haven't seen this person in months. I haven't seen this person in 3 weeks, and this person just signed up. As I'm going through it now, keeping that attrition rate low is going to help me. Like this less people I have to bring in, right? It's less money that I'm spending. The churn rate is fairly high for any gym.
Yeah,
any gym, and a CrossFit gym I think is better than others. We don't have to do as much marketing to bring new customers in, but knowing the steps that you just talked about. If you get them in the door, then you make contact with them and then you follow up with them. And we have not been doing this part I want to admit is we have not been doing any follow-up. Right? In the first 90 days, we don't do any follow-up.
Yeah.
Like, we come in, they'll go through their startup and they'll start in class. And then I just hope that they stay is basically what we've been doing. The hope and pray. And now I've got one of my coaches.
I was going to say, we just started implementing this.
Just started in the email she's getting back.
Yeah.
I'm looking at these emails going, son of a bitch.
Should have done this sooner.
17 years.
Because they're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I had a great experience. Yeah. And like, they just, I think people will gush on you after they've had their first experience if you give them that chance, right? It's just like opening the door, like, come on in, right? Yeah. There's like I'm a very faithful guy. There's like biblically, like there's a knock, like, and the door will be open to you. And like, that's the 100% right avenue that you're talking about is like, if you just ask that person, like, hey, you were here a couple days ago. How was it? Like unleashing. It's wild.
It's so if you, I love that you're so Pedro likes you.
Love you too, Pedro.
So it just doing those things. Like if you guys do figure that out and get it out to these affiliates, that's a big difference maker. And I love that idea. Is in terms of, so we talked about SEO improvement. We talked about the better access to the journal. Any thoughts on marketing itself and this whole prospect that, one of the things that affiliates like to say is, I want people coming in the door. I want people coming in the door. And I've said that too, is like a lot of affiliates. So the complaints from affiliates would stop if they were too busy trying to handle all the new customers they had. And there's some truth to that.
Sure.
But, or how do you guys think about bringing people in the door and how and CrossFit never really has done any like direct marketing to drive people in the door other than, the commercial during a CrossFit Games event or something like that, random YouTube video that, says, go visit your CrossFit affiliate. But how are you guys thinking about that? For this next
a big part is we've started just with branded search, just very transparently. Like our share of search of our own branded terms 2 years ago, year and a half ago, was I love you more, Matt. Our share of search was like, I don't even want to share it because it was so freaking bad. Like it was so unacceptably bad that like we had prior to 2 years ago, we probably were not actually doing the job that we should have been doing. That's how bad it was. If you searched for CrossFit 2 years ago, the likelihood that you saw CrossFit, anything related to CrossFit on the front page or on the second page or on the third page was basically zero. Like you just weren't going to see CrossFit because Orange Theory was buying against our terms. F45 was buying against our terms. Planet Fitness was buying against our terms. Everyone was buying against CrossFit, and we were not buying against our own terms. And like very, very basic marketing block and tackling is protect your own brand. And the best way to protect your own brand from a Google perspective is to just buy your own terms, because we already have the authority for our own term. Like there is no other brand that has created as much content about CrossFit than CrossFit. So we can bid an exorbitantly low amount against our own branded terms and we'll win the search because we have a higher authority. And we just needed to do that. So we basically opened up the funnel to say like, we're going to start buying against our own branded terms. Our share of search went from basically non-existent to like 65%. So now if you search for CrossFit will show up on the first page. And
that's significant. That's just a quick, keep your train of thought going, but that's significant for affiliate owners. Because people will search for CrossFit in their areas, and you want them to pull up CrossFit. You want them to at least get to CrossFit.com. Yeah. Because then they can find you through the affiliate map. Yeah.
Right.
But then there's also, there's great content right there on that first page that makes people feel comfortable about CrossFit.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, go.
Yeah. And so like, that's step one, like, because CrossFit actually has great brand awareness. Like that's the other like really cool thing about our brand is it's because it's been around for 20 plus years, because it has great word of mouth. Like people have heard of CrossFit. They might not know what it is, but they've heard of it. So if they're starting, like now is the perfect time, right? People are like, ooh, CrossFit near me. The number of searches for those terms is actually really high. There's been like these videos the past few months that have been floating around like, oh, searches for CrossFit going down. Well, not really, because the searches for CrossFit near me have gone through the roof, right? Because people know how to use Google better than just typing in CrossFit. And so those are like things that aren't caught when you just do a very simple like Google trend search for just CrossFit, like CrossFit near me, CrossFit in Ohio, CrossFit in Fairfield, CrossFit in Cincinnati, like though Colts near me. Exactly. Right.
What if that actually comes?
I love it. Those are the terms that aren't captured in a very quick Google Trends analysis like that. So we're doing as much as we can to just capture that initial search. And then, like I said earlier, like we've been dedicating a ton of time and energy to making it easier for somebody once they're on CrossFit.com to actually find a gym. Like that wasn't a thing. Like you could always the map was always this button somewhere on the site that lived. And if you were really trying to find a place to go, you could like zoom in on the spot you were. And like you could, up until a few months ago, you couldn't even put in your zip code and have the map narrow down for you. You had to like zoom.
Yeah, I remember that, Kevin, trying to help somebody find a gym they can drop into when they're on vacation.
It's like, right. It was like the oldest map technology in the world. Yeah. And now it's when you go to the homepage, if you land on the homepage because you've searched for CrossFit, which is more likely to happen than ever before, the first thing you see is the closest gym to you.
Okay. What about YouTube and social media? Is there I have a mixed opinion about whether or not getting lots of views on YouTube is will drive traffic to affiliates or even on social media. Social media, I think, probably more prevalent. Are you guys thinking about advertising, and how are you thinking about YouTube and the content? Because there's some tremendous YouTube videos. If you're an affiliate owner and you're looking for stuff to reshare, and I've done this with other affiliate owners, talk to them about it. There's tons of really cool videos. Content.
It's crazy.
And I want them to, I want people to go in, like it, reshare them, those kinds of things. But how do you think about YouTube and social media with respect to the affiliates and driving traffic to affiliates? Is that more of a branding, or is that actually an opportunity?
That's a very, very top of the funnel activity. And it's important because like there's this is a book I've actually given to a couple people on my team. If you're a CrossFit affiliate owner and you want to get like really nerdy about how to own your own market, it's How Brands Grow. This is like almost like a textbook kind of a book. It's filled with case studies about big brands, how to grow brands, in a lot of ways, like how to get past that chasm and how to grow into your early and late majority. And the number 1 and 2 thing that you can do is generate reach and generate impressions. So reach and impressions and in frequency, essentially. So put it in front of a lot of people, put it in front of a lot of people often, and brand awareness goes up, brand recall goes up, which is really huge, because if somebody says like, oh, I want to go work out, well, what's the first thing somebody thinks about it if you say go work out? If they see a bunch of CrossFit all over the place, CrossFit's the first thing they're going to think about when somebody says, I want to go work out. And so from a social perspective, Instagram ads, Facebook ads, ads on TikTok, ads on Snapchat, whatever, like those are things that we should probably start moving into. We've, in a lot of ways, like just doing the mechanics first, right, was like just making sure that we were not losing share of search to other brands was like
the brand first.
And like mechanics, then consistency. Let's make sure we keep doing that well. And then we can add some intensity on top. And intensity on top is just like opening the budget to spend more against impressions and frequency on other channels. Because if we can't win on the first thing, like if I can't do a great deadlift, I shouldn't be doing a squat clean. Right. I need to figure out how to pull the bar off the ground first. Once I'm good there, then I can figure out how to like open my hips, generate power, and catch it in a really sound squat. All these same like things apply to marketing. Like, let's get the first thing done first. I think we've done a pretty good job
before you start throwing a lot of money at the other stuff. Because
correct. I mean, we can, and we've had some. We've spent a little time testing in those waters, right? During the semifinals, we did some tests on social, seeing if we get people to come into the semifinals and things like that. So we've played around with ad buys in other channels, and I think we'll continue to do that, like generating reach and doing that at a higher frequency in the audiences that we determine are most likely to come into a CrossFit gym are absolutely the next step for us.
The challenge I'm sure that you guys have, and I've had with my members that travel, is making sure that the experience that customers get when they follow through with those ads or searches, that the experience they get makes them want to come back again. How are you involved in that process? And do you have any thoughts on that process, on improving the average client experience without creating we all operate differently. There's 3 or 4 really good CrossFit gyms around me, and we each do it differently.
Yeah.
My buddy Tim Dimmel, CrossFit Palo Alto, all over on the other side of the bed. The way he operates, way on boards, and the way he runs his class model is completely different. But he runs an amazing gym.
Yeah.
But the experience people get when they go to him, when they first go to him, is similar in that they're getting a really cool introduction to CrossFit, gradual introduction to CrossFit that keeps them coming back. Are there ways to measure that and manage that, and who's putting thought into that, and who's working on that?
Yeah. So Jay and Austin and the gym team have been doing a ton of work understanding like what are and we talked a little bit about this, like make sure they have a great coaching experience, make sure they get a follow-up email. Like some of those things are part and parcel to that like first experience for a user. there's never going to be a world where like, this is the model you have to follow. It doesn't make sense, right? There's like different communities of people. There's different coaches that have different styles, that should be running their gyms the way they want to run their gyms. Like the way that I'm going to invite somebody into my garage in my house is going to be a heck of a lot different than the way somebody comes into a gym that has 40 people on the floor. Right. That being said, I think there are huge opportunities to create educational materials from CrossFit to the coaches and to people that are on the floor on like, how do you actually manage that inflow? Like right now we've kind of just left it up, and there's some, like Cooper at Two Brain and Fern and Jason at Best Hour have like some really cool models that they help coach people through in terms of like, what does your onboarding experience look like? What does the like follow-up? What does the post 90-day flow look like? We've actually done a couple of those in the affiliate summits where we'll like do a little workshop and people will sit around like, oh, what can I go do tomorrow that will make the onboarding experience better at my gym? And the ideas that people come up with when you just ask them to take the time and do that exercise is crazy. And they'll go back and they'll implement that in their gym without having to even think about it. But just putting that prompt in front of affiliate owners more frequently, I think is something that we can and should be doing. And I know that Jay and Austin and like the affiliate reps and the country managers, and they're all doing that in at a different, cadence than they've ever been doing it before, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. I all of those things I've gleaned from either the consultants that are out there, literally taking it from them for free. We, not using this consultants. We do the no sweat intro, which is a Chris Cooper idea from years ago. We've been doing it now.
It's been like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, at least 5 or 6 years.
Yeah,
what a game changer that was. Because we used to do the whole free class thing, come in and do a free class.
Yeah, the Saturday free class.
Oh, and spend a lot of time with them, and then the close rate on that was a lot lower because they'd get wrecked, and some people would love it, and some people like, this is miserable. But one of the things I like to do is encourage affiliate owners to spend time with other affiliate owners in their area. I have 4 or 5 affiliate owners that I connect with. Every week I'm having a phone conversation or a text interaction with another affiliate owner just about CrossFit, about what we do here, how we do it, those types of things. We have those conversations on an ongoing basis. That's awesome. And those are so beneficial. One, they create a little bit of challenge, competitive challenge amongst us. But it also, when I hear that, Nicole Christensen is, running her open a certain way in order to try and drive more attendance at her open, I get a little bit fired up. I'm like, okay, what's she doing? How's she doing it?
Yeah, that's cool.
And I think affiliate owners, before you look to CrossFit because CrossFit's got a lot to worry about. Keith's got 4 kids at home. He's trying to do his garage gym workouts. He's got all the stuff he's got to deal with there, and then CrossFit, and we can't count on Keith to deliver a solution for us in the next 3 months so that you can help pay your bills. But there are other affiliate owners out there you can spend a little bit of time with. Yeah, and probably glean some really cool stuff. And
I think the other thing that's really cool about like what you just said, and I see this in the local affiliate community here in kind of northern Cincinnati. I drop in at CrossFit Unlimited. They have a free Saturday class. Zach Watts, who's a games athlete, is the affiliate owner there. And I've gone multiple times on Saturday, and there have been other affiliate owners in his class with him.
Oh, that's cool.
And so like that community, like the owner of Cornerstone, which is actually where the affiliate summit for Midwest was, is one of the owners that goes to his classes regularly. Like she's a member at another affiliate because she wants to figure out, what are they doing? How are they working on their onboarding programs? What does their free Saturday class look like? All that kind of stuff. I think is hugely important. I mean, this happens in every other industry, but for some reason, inside of like the CrossFit affiliate ecosystem, there's like this weird, oh, that's my competitor.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, no, it's not.
Yeah.
when you think about when you think about how big of an opportunity this is for people, and I always go back to these numbers, like there's 300 million people between the ages of 20 and 39 who already work out 3 times a week. There is no shortage of people who are fit for coming into your gym tomorrow. To position yourself as competing against another affiliate owner is kind of crazy. Like we're all trying to do the same thing at the end of the day, which is like make people healthier, and make them fit. Like that, if we can figure out how to do that and we do it collectively, we're going to move the needle so much more than we would if we're like trying to compete against each other for like the existing folks that are already in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
I think of it a little bit like the I love that idea.
That's awesome.
I love that.
It's really cool. I go into the 3 or 4 corners rule in the franchise business for fast food. If there's a McDonald's on one corner, there's a Jack in the Box on the other, and a Taco Bell. There's the best place to put another food franchise is not 5 miles away, but on that 4th corner. Because that's where people will go to eat. And it's the same thing I think with CrossFit. Like the more CrossFit affiliates there are in your area, the more people know and want to try CrossFit. And there are a large number of people that still need this in their life.
Absolutely.
And will benefit. I look at Joe Nels up in Michigan, and now he's the extreme, right? I wish I had the courage that guy had. This Diablo would be like I'd have like 10 locations, with each with like every 400 members. That guy went out and literally stood on a street corner, and that was
I've actually talked to him a couple times. Yeah, I mean the challenge that he put out to people I think was really cool, and it's that's the other thing is like I could put out a training on how to go do that, but like, or you could just go do it.
I was gonna say
it's like because that's like because the way that you're going to do that. I mean, maybe in one of the first videos that he made about that exploration, it was like one of his coaches came with him, and like the way that she talked about getting somebody to come into the gym was totally different than the way that he talked about it, and that like speaks to the value of one gym being maybe a little bit different than the other gym, and having like their own flexibility to run things the way that they want to run them, in the way that fits for their community. It's I love that. I love what he's been doing.
I think one of the things that I've challenged myself to do this year, one is talk to more people about CrossFit, just in general, and not even mention
outside of the gym.
Just outside the gym, talk about CrossFit more to people, because I've kind of pulled back from that. But here's the other thing: is I challenged, and we did this at our holiday party. I gave everybody at our holiday party a business card.
Business card.
And the thing before they left the holiday party, I said, your challenge for this year is just give away one card. Just give away one card to one person, is to challenge our members to do the same thing. Help educate them on the value of CrossFit. They know and understand it, but is the more we preach to our members about the health benefits, the mental health benefits, the value of getting groups of people together, where there's fewer and fewer opportunities and fewer communities within in this world today. Here's a great opportunity to bring people together, but to challenge them to go recruit one person. It doesn't have to be to your gym. Just challenge them to recruit one person to either do it themselves in their garage gym, or go to another affiliate, or go to your affiliate. We'll help. We'll get to 30 million really, really fucking 100%. Fast if 100%. Everybody got on board with the messaging.
Yeah. And you made a comment a little bit earlier about like the videos that we have available. Like if you're an affiliate owner, like just go to CrossFit's YouTube channel and like pull one of those videos down and like reuse it. Like that's
just repost
100% in the purview of the agreement. Like you should help us spread that message.
God, you can go back. You can
say whether you're not an affiliate owner too. Like
you can go.
I mean, if you're an individual who does
there's
CrossFit,
some great ones. There's great current ones. There's some great old ones too.
Yeah.
You're
I've been trying to make it a habit of like at least once a week going and finding something from like deep in the archives. It's like a really cool story or something, and like posting that on my LinkedIn, because that's another place that I don't think a lot of people, like the people that are like me, aren't spending a ton of time on Facebook. Like they're like doing their job in the middle of the week, and they're trying to close deals and sell, and or or whatever they're doing. LinkedIn's a channel that I don't know if we've tapped enough of. And so I've been doing that a lot. And you see the metrics, right? When I post something on LinkedIn versus when I post something on Instagram, I get 3 times as many impressions generated on LinkedIn than I do when I'm on.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Someone told me, Pime told me that about LinkedIn to spend more time there with this kind of stuff, and that's a great community to reach out to.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you before you, how's your time, by the way? Are you okay?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
Okay, good. One of the things I wanted to ask you about, because this is something I've noticed that a few people have come into our gym is they found us through Google Maps, and I've even especially during the pandemic, I pulled up affiliates in my area, and Google Maps had automatically put temporarily closed on them or permanently closed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and affiliates like Dusty Salon at Danville CrossFit, they had put temporarily closed, and I knew he was open, and so I'd send him a message, and you had to actually go in and manually remove that.
Yeah,
because they just assumed because of the mandates,
what's going on in the county.
Yeah, that all gyms were temporarily closed.
Wow.
But I found that I've beefed up my presence on Google Maps, added new pictures, updated my contact information, all that stuff, and people find us. And I started thinking about, you know what? When I'm driving around, I want to find something. It's like coffee near me.
Yeah.
Or CrossFit gyms near me, and they do the search through Google Maps, which is different. So then what comes up is your Google My Business page.
Yeah, your Google business page. Like
pain in the ass to get to and find it and to even edit and update. But that is super important.
It's crazy important. It's like that's a massive unlock for a local business. I mean, and that's what every CrossFit affiliate is. Like if we get past the gym, it's a local small business.
Yeah.
And like the Google business pages are a huge unlock there, because that's where your Google reviews sit. That's where your star ratings sit. That's where the terms that Google uses to define your business to somebody who's looking for it come from. Like you can have the greatest website ever, but if your Google, if your business page isn't on point, like you're going to miss out on a ton of free traffic. And the other benefit of doing that is like you can start pointing your members, like in your weekly emails, or if you do a monthly email, like, hey, go leave a Google review. You've got hundreds of people that love doing what they do in your gym. Take advantage of it. Like just all they have to do is click a star and then they're done.
Yeah.
Right. If they want to write a review, that's fantastic. But if they want to just click a star, it takes 30 seconds for somebody to log into their Google account, go to your page, click a star, write I love the coaching I get at CrossFit Diablo. You should come try it. The unlock that will create in a local community is huge.
We've told it once a year. We'll tell our members. I'll post the links to it. And and again, this is one of these things I got from another small business owner, a guy that came out and fixed my car, did the paintless dent repair.
Yes.
He goes, hey, I'm going to send you a text in a little bit. It's going to say, leave me a review. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, it comes directly from Google. So it is me. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I got it. And I was like, well, that's awesome. He goes, you don't do that for your business? I go, no. He goes, you do now. Like, I guess I learned from a dent repair guy.
Yeah. I mean, I did the same thing I just had a new garage door opener installed. And the guy who installed it said, hey, we're going to send you a review, like a request for a review. And I was like, oh, cool. It's going to be on their website, but it just dropped me right onto Google. It's like, oh, that's so smart.
Yeah. Yeah. And you want to do that. I one of the things I read up on this. So I read up on reviews, and I learned that people don't trust like a gym that has all 5-star reviews, because they think, oh, it's just the owner and all the coaches and the members that are doing
staged.
Yeah. So I told my members that in class one morning when I was coaching. I said, hey, listen, leave us a review. I go, but if you could, don't necessarily make it 5 stars, because no one reads 5 stars reviews. So one of my members, Andrew Lloyd, I'm going to call him out, went in and left a 2-star review. And so it comes up in Google, 2-star review. Who left 2 stars? He goes, I'm leaving this review because I know no one reads 5-star reviews. I just want to tell you how great this gym is. It was awesome. But
it's like the old Craigslist ad for the like the beat up old Toyota Camry or something.
Toyota Camry.
It's like satire marketing. That's really smart.
It's good. So we have a nice, comfortable 4.8, I think, on Google reviews right now. We're not 5 or 4.8. But yeah, that's encouraging. I say, and Yelp too, is painful as it is to deal with the Yelp people. They will find you because they'll do the Google Map search, and then the Yelp will come up as one of the listings. By all means. Well, that's cool. We've gone. Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
just a video. Business tips on things to do, and it would seem a no-brainer. Agree with that one.
Yeah, I just responded in chat to him. I saw the one you did for the memberships for the behind the scenes wheel. Maybe you can hook us up.
Oh, that'd be great. Perfect. Good to call them out. Well, so anyway, so that's we've gone over our time. I like to stay right in this time range. I super appreciate having you on. This has been insightful for me.
Yeah.
I'm encouraged. If there's any moment in time when you're driving around and going, and you've been under attack from, the community, and you think, man, why am I doing this? Give me a call. I'll talk you back from the ledge.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's really incredible because and I've experienced this firsthand where like you feel like there's an attack happening, or you feel like there's something happening. If you just have the conversation, I mean, I want to give a shout out to Hiller actually with the conversation he had with Charlesworth not too long ago.
Oh yeah.
There's like, when you just sit down and have a conversation with somebody, the likelihood that you walk away from that, like in a bad state of affairs is so low. Yeah. And I think we've all, I think, defaulted to this like world where we're behind screens or in tiny boxes or whatever. And it's just like, it's so easy to just like give our own point of view without thinking about somebody else's perspective. But then if you just open up the door to have that conversation, how unbelievable is that? Did they walk away, that both of them walk away from that conversation like, oh, that was awesome. I'm so glad I did that.
One of the reasons why I think CrossFit and CrossFit affiliates are going to thrive, not only thrive, but we've got, I think, in my own mind, explosive growth coming forward, is we're one of the few places where you can get together with like-minded people, a small group of like-minded people, real people in person, and have honest conversation. The massive development of artificial intelligence has made everything online suspect.
Yeah.
And it will be more and more suspect the better it gets. And that's not to say there's going to be tremendous benefits that come from as a result of it. I know both sides of the story, but if you want real, you got to go to someplace where, whether it's church or whether it's school or whether it's work. But man, there's less and less places, and I think CrossFit affiliates are one of those. And I get it for all the time from my members. They come, especially during the work from home craze. They're coming here. This was the only place that they are
medicine.
That
Medicine.
kind of conversation. 100%.
I mean, I just said that to the owner of CrossFit Cornerstone, where I'm a member. Not too long ago, I had not gone into the gym for a while. I was doing a lot of workouts from home. Hadn't been going into the affiliate. I went in and one class. It was like, saw the people that I see at 10 a.m. on, weekdays. I walked away from that feeling like a completely new person. I was like, God, it felt so good. And it goes back to the Harvard Divinity School, conversations that Greg had in like maybe 2016, 2017. There's a lot of realness to what you just said. Like, people need interaction and connection with other people. And there's no better way to get that in a place where like there are no walls. Like, you can be working out right next to somebody who has a completely different background, completely different perspective, and all you're both trying to do is survive. Right? It's like, that's kind of the joy of what we get to do every day, especially from a coaching perspective. Like, you're giving people an opportunity to like grow into a version of themselves that they couldn't have grown into otherwise.
The workout breaks down the barriers, and then the dopamine afterwards almost creates an addictive effect 100%. That like, wow, I really enjoyed working out and talking to that person afterwards. That was the best thing ever. Yeah. And it's a great concoction that will prove really, really valuable for CrossFit affiliate owners over the next, I think, 5 to 10 years and beyond.
Yep. Absolutely.
Oh, Tim's always got to come in with the attack.
I 100% agree with you, Tim. 100% agree with you. We actually, we are highly encouraged to belong to affiliates. Also encouraged to open our own affiliates. So I have done both.
Nice.
Run an affiliate where I do kids classes,
Yeah.
and drop in very regularly to a couple of gyms in town and belong to CrossFit Cornerstone. So
and has 4 kids at home and a wife that probably never sees them. So
it's like, no, I mean, my wife also works full time from home. So she has an office on one side of the house. I have it also in the basement. And like the most likely time for us to see each other is in the gym, which is great.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Right on. Keith, thank you very much for the time. Appreciate it.
You guys so much.
I love learning more about your past. I'm super stoked with your history with CrossFit. That really is powerful to me. And then all of your marketing experience that is going into making this place much better for all of us. So appreciate it a great deal, sir.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for what you're doing. Look forward to working with you guys more. If you guys ever need anything from me, have any questions, or like, what the hell's this? Like, just pick up the phone, give me a call. That goes for anybody in the chat too. Like, hit me on Instagram, Instant Messenger, whatever. Happy to have conversations. And a lot of people that I see in the chat know that all too well.
Right on.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Cheers.
See ya.